Hey, what's up guys, Raven here and let's talk Nintendo. So, I was really thinking about making video about this topic for quite a while, and I did wanted to talk about it for even longer, but I had no idea when, right? But we are a couple of days after the Nintendo Direct, and now I think it's a good time, because this Direct was the moment where I've noticed in myself some shift and this utter belief that I will not buy the Nintendo Switch 2 ever. And you might say, but Raven, you've went and you've purchased day one Nintendo Switch 1. You have Nintendo Switch games. You play Nintendo, right? Even though, again, I don't have a lot of recordings from those games, but I do play. And those are valid questions. And the answer is, well, because it's not worth it. I'm being priced out of Nintendo. I am too poor to be able to afford Nintendo with games, with amiibos, with everything that I want that I had for Nintendo Switch 1. And let's start, with amiibos, because this is going to be a great example, right? So I remember, and again, it's going to be old man's rumbling, right? But Nintendo Switch 1 came out, and you had those like really beautiful big amiibos from from Zelda Breath of the Wild, right? Where you had, Link on a horse, things like that, and they were $15, $20 top, right? $20 was like, high back then, but it was like a really big figure, right? But again, this is nothing more than just a figure, because you might agree or disagree, whatever, but they are not being utilized in video games in a big capacity, right? So you mainly collect them because they are cool figurines and they are, cool looking characters, right? Like I have, my Belmont, my Solid Snake, because that was like, the most affordable figure I can have of Solid Snake, things like that. But, can I use them anywhere? Not really, right? Smash Bros, great. But besides that, not necessarily. I can have, items in Breath of the Wild. Just, little things like that, but nothing more, nothing less. And now when I look at the prices, $40, $49 for something that's still, Mario Galaxy, right? Those amiibos are $39.99, so $40. They just don't look good. They look the same as the previous ones. They are, not well made. They are not something that should have this price tag at all, right? I mean, there's there's two figures that would have, that you can change them, and they're $49.99. But still, this costs more than a lot of brand new games currently. For a figurine, screw even that. You can now go and for $49.99 you can have a really nice Banpresto figurine, right? You can have your, I don't know, let's say Jujutsu Kaisen figurine, right? You can have your Gojo Satoru just staring at you instead of, really small amiibo that you can't even use anywhere because the support of that is so minimal. It's so lackluster. So this is the first thing, right? So I'm like, okay, I will not be able to collect things that I would like to. Cool. Then I saw the Mario Galaxy, and that pissed me off, cause thought $30, because there's like a bundle, right? Like $70 and you have both, or 40 alone for one. And I go like, that is a cost of a brand new game, and this is a game that on like a year after launch in Wii Select, right? Which is like, the best of series that was also on 3DS to make games cheaper, right? And back then it was $19.99. I think 3DS games were like $9.99 or something. Because I still remember them in the shop, right? I still, I think, have a couple. I would have to look at my shelf. Yeah, I still do, like Zelda, right? For example, Link Between Worlds from that. So you go like, you have a game that costs $19.99 a year after it was released, 10 years ago. Then it was re-released again on the Wii U shop. Then it was re-released on the Nintendo Switch with, okay, limited run, you know, bundle of 3 games. It was called All Star, and okay, cool, but still was $60. So if you cut it into 3 pieces, it's still $20, right? Let's, you know, round it up. Great. And you're like, that is insane. Especially, you know, that the Nintendo games, they never go on sale. The price is always high. But you go like, alright, you know what? Let it slide. Virtual Boy. Why the fuck we need Virtual Boy? It was the worst thing they've done in the 90s. I believe it was 90s or 80s. Why we need to bring it back? But also, why do I need to pay for a plastic shell, literally almost $100, for a plastic shell where the hardware I already have because the screen is the Nintendo Switch? Or a cardboard for $25. A piece of cardboard. But you go like, fuck that. It's greed. It's just pure greed. And then you look at the video game prices, about upgrades, that you have to pay for the 4K updates of the games. You pay for the 4K that it's supposed to be there. On top of that, you have, you know, you have to have the online, and then you see, you know, DLCs for the game that didn't even come out yet, already advertised. Jesus. At least when, because you can have an argument like, yeah, but, you know, like, let's say Assassin's Creed, they already tell you that there will be a DLC and they have a season pass. Yes, but you know they are working on it, and it's not on the disc day one. Like, you know, Gears of War or whatever, right? It was back then. And now you can't even be like, yeah, but yeah, we have it on the disc. You don't, because you download the game because of the key cards that Nintendo is doing, right? So you go like, jeez, why? So not only you have to pay $500 for the console, $70, $80 for the game, then you have an online, right? That you have to purchase to play with friends. Then, you know, the games are never going on sale, so it's not like, you know, you can have, let's say, on Xbox, Game Pass, where you have, you know, day one games for like dirt cheap, or you can, you know, buy second hand, because you can't even buy second hand games because they are on the key cards. Or I cannot borrow, because this is what I'm doing with Switch 1, you know, Fire Emblem Engage, right? You can see it on my YouTube channel now when I was playing it. This is the game that I borrowed from a friend of mine. And now I can't even do that. Because even this is, you know, made... Oh, like, how can you screw that up? Borrowing physical media. Right? And it's insane to me. And then on top of that, you have, you know, the share button that you have to pay for. And I just feel like, listen, I would love, and honestly, I would love to, you know, own the Nintendo Switch, to be able to play Mario Kart World. I would love to, you know, be part of, you know, this whole launch of the system. Just like I was during Nintendo Switch 1, because it was a fantastic time back then, right? It was only Breath of the Wild, nothing more. 3 months later, there was Mario Odyssey, I believe, right? And you had, along the way, ARMS as a game, right? There was Splatoon, you know, and the games were like, you know, releasing, you know, slowly. And there was like not a lot of variety, but everyone was like, yeah, it's great. And it was not that pricey. At least you didn't feel it this way, right? Because, you know, I remember I wanted, you know, amiibos from Zelda, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna grab 2. And I was like, yeah, you know what, we have sale today, is, you know, just 14 you know, not euros but dollars for 1. And you go like, oh yeah, cool, great. Now you pay 30 and you barely have 1, not even, because $39.99 are the ones from Mario Galaxy. And I mean, they don't look like that price. There should be like literally $14.99, and that's it. 20, that would be already outrageous. And this is something I don't understand, because this is a situation kind of like with Wii U, that Wii U, okay, was marketed just, you know, everyone thought it's a tablet. Alright. But here, there is nothing that justifies what they are doing with Switch 2. There's literally nothing that can justify it, because it's insane to me. You can say like, yeah, but you have the third-party games, but this is not what you purchase Nintendo for. If I want to have a third-party game, I have my Xbox, I have my, someone can say I have my PC, I have my PlayStation. I'm buying Nintendo for Nintendo games, which are made literally unavailable to a lot of people because of just price. And it's shit that you can price out audience that is willing to pay. How greedy you have to be to really, or how far you have to, have your head up your ass to think in this manner that, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. Because when the Switch 1 launched, I don't think anyone was priced out. Genuinely, I think any of my friends who wanted it had it, and we never had a conversation that something is, the price is too high. I don't remember those conversations because they never existed. It was just like, yeah, hey, Splatoon 2 is coming out. You want to, grab it and play it? They were like, yeah, cool. And we've played the fuck out of Splatoon 2. I even have it like literally. I don't know. Yeah, you can hear it in my hand because I was playing it quite recently to check if people are still playing it, right? And they still are, at least in Europe. And I was like, what happened? So you see all of that, you see the DLCs, you see just the breaking of systems, and I felt like, and this is genuinely how I felt, like a shit. I felt like the piggy bank that they are just taking from. Like this endless source of money that they can just take from me, and I'm gonna just spread my ass cheeks and be like, yeah, please go for more. And no, and I no, just absolutely no. So Nintendo Switch 2 is gonna be the first generation of Nintendo since original Wii that I'm gonna skip. Because like Wii U, I didn't really skip. I bought it like quite later because it was again a bit mismarketed, and I thought genuinely for a long time that it's just a tablet. So when I went to college, that's when I bought it. But yeah, I bought it like a year before the release of Nintendo Switch. But I had it, right? So it's gonna be like the first one that I don't even want to buy, because you can't even later buy used console because it's gonna be bricked probably. There are already people trying to do regions or change regions for certain games and get that, but and I'm not even gonna talk about what they're doing with Pokemon, for example, because it was never a hardware limitation. And again, I am diehard Pokemon fan. I went to London from Poland just to be at their event, and it's bad. It's bad, and I can't support it. I can't support this kind of greed. This is kind of also the reason why now, mainly when I'm going and buying like Nintendo Switch 2 games, I'm purchasing it Nintendo Switch 1 games, sorry, not 2 but 1. I'm getting them second hand, so like from Vinted, which is like a website for American people. This is like a website where you can have second hand things like clothes as well, and books, other things. It's just kind of like an eBay, but around Europe. Like it's weird, right? But it's like another website, right? Another thing, right? But yeah, eBay as well. or even local things, right, that we have here, because there are like local country things that we have, like our own small eBays that are called differently. Because I don't want to go to the shop and give them money. Honestly, I don't. I don't have my Nintendo Switch online, because first, I don't think I need it. Again, for the Splatoon 2 that I was testing, I've had my trial for 7 days. That was it, because I've never used it. And yeah, it's insane. And I wish that in the next generation they will figure out what they've done wrong, and at least they will release a console that is finally good. Because I don't see Nintendo Switch 3. It has to be a home console. And if you want to have a handheld, then do a handheld. And that's it, because you can't have those hybrids anymore. Especially they are not, portable. That you can't really take them because you need a really, really big carrying bag, right? So, yeah. I never thought I'm gonna say that, but I'm definitely... anything that Nintendo's putting out now, I'm just like skipping. Maybe if it's gonna come out also on Nintendo Switch 1 and someone will have a used copy for cheap, sure. But that is it. That is absolutely it. And it sucks. I on one hand, I really don't like it, but on the other, I'm like, yeah. This is my vote, and I can only vote through my wallet. That's the only way I can do anything. Is it gonna change anything for them? Probably not, right? Because like Nintendo doesn't care about, like one guy that lives somewhere. But it does make a difference for me. That I can put that money into something different. Or I can put this money aside. I can go and, I don't know, buy something for Xbox. Or I can, put that money buy some Warhammer figurines. Or just put that money aside for, some rainy days. And, yeah. I'm stopping because it is a bit emotional that I went to, so far. And this is the conclusion. Because, really, for the last 2 months, I was like... should I buy it? I want to play the Mario Kart World. And I was like really struggling not to buy it. Because I had the money put aside for the console. And I was like, should I pull that trigger? And no. Absolutely not. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I would rather go and buy a second Nintendo Switch 1 for my second half. So we can play together some games than that. How the world changes, right? But let me guys know what you think, and are you purchasing Nintendo Switch too? Take care, bye.